This video is not an endorsement of anyone in it. It is an explanation of polemical tactics, and if you're offended by this video, then perhaps I am a successful polemicist too. Aleister Crowley learned that outrage steers conversation. In Sicily in the early 1920s, in his Abbey of Thelema, he became a tabloid fixation after the death of one of his cult members, Raoul Loveday. Mussolini expelled Crowley in 1923, but the scandal made him unavoidable in the press, exactly the effect that he desired and cultivated. The move to talk about taboo topics, sex, religion, authority, wasn't by winning arguments, it was by forcing coverage. This video will show you how these tactics are still alive and well today in the age of the internet. In fact, more than ever. Let's lift a definition of polemics from a self-admitted polemicist himself. This is controversial, once famous conservative commentator Milo Yiannpoloulos.
Milo, this is nothing new what you're doing. It's been around. You seem to just hit the things that will get reaction.
I exist in the tradition of the British polemic, which is an initial outrageous provocation, but followed by facts, by humour, by persuasiveness, something that makes you first of all angry, but then entertained, amused, engaged, and thoughtful afterwards. And that's what I hope that everybody leaves my shows feeling, is that they were initially, what is going on here, and then at the end of the show they leave saying, well, I didn't agree with anything, but there was some really interesting stuff in there, and my goodness, it was funny.
So, the polemicist uses sharp or offensive openings to capture attention, then delivers a broader point. It's not offense as an end, but as a gateway to shift what is discussable. Let's watch another clip. He begins by saying something very offensive about an African American woman, but really you can see that this is just a way of advertising his article.
I told the Wall Street Journal that Leslie Jones, the subject of the new Ghostbusters movie, looks remarkably like one of my ex-boyfriends, which she does. And I said that it was nice that they cast a hot black dude in the movie. These are the kind of like, okay, fine, a gay guy's catty, stop the presses. What I actually did was wrote a very long, very good, very brutal and bitchy, but I thought ultimately quite fair review of a very bad feminist movie.
Now you might think that Milo is a bit of an old school example at this point, so let's look at somebody else.
These people seem to exist in a parallel universe. Their views go largely unchallenged. Their endorsements are worth millions in sales. Their opinions can instantly reshape conversations. Well, my guest tonight is a perfect case in point, an example of both enormous digital conquest and the risks that come with it. He's Andrew Tate. His last interview with me has so far been viewed over 8 million times on YouTube alone.
So Andrew Tate starts this interview saying that clinical depression does not exist. Piers pushes back, and Tate pivots to a story about taking action leading to improvement. Watch this.
There are a lot of people who just have a bad day and declare, I've got depression. But a clinically depressed person has an absolutely proven medical condition that is beyond their control.
Not according to me and many others, Mike.
Ludicrous.
It's not ludicrous.
It is.
It's not.
If you said to me, we're in a victimhood society, it's got to stop, I'm with you.
Okay.
But the moment you try and deny clinical depression,
I believe feeling depressed is real. I do not believe it's a disease that you catch from the sky and you cannot affect. I believe that no matter what happens, I believe you have control of your own mind and you can fight against it. I believe if you change your circumstances in your life, you may feel different. I'll give you a quick example. I had a guy who emailed me saying he was clinically depressed and he was going to kill himself. And he said he lost his girlfriend, that's why he became clinically depressed. I said, listen, go to the gym, get a six-pack first. Once you've got a six-pack, email me again. Strong body is a strong mind, go train. He went, he started sending me progress pictures, emailing me him getting in better shape, and eventually got a six-pack. He's now a professional bodybuilder. And he said, I can't believe I was considering that. I feel so much better, etc. The doctor who was telling him he was clinically depressed and couldn't cure it, he started taking control of his own life, and now he felt better. Now, I'm not saying it's the case for everybody.
No.
So there you go. That is blatant polemical tactics. He begins with an extremely provocative statement that there is no such thing as clinical depression, and then he goes into more detail when asked about it by the press, having already got press attention. He gives this example of a story where taking control of your life, working out, etc., helped somebody, Then at the end he even says, I accept this isn't the case for everybody. So we can see here that Tate actually has more of the normal view that Piers also has. It's just that he says it in a offensive, provocative way, which in our society at this present moment is an extremely effective way to cut through the noise of the millions of YouTube videos uploaded every single day. And some of you might think, well, I don't think that Tate is a personality, I don't think that he's a character, he seems to be genuinely this way. But I want us to refer to two other polemics now, talking about Tate, one of whom has known him since childhood.
He's another person that draws a lot of heat. He's another person that's divisive.
I know Andrew Tate before he was Andrew Tate. I'm from Luton, Andrew Tate's from Luton. Yeah, we're both Luton boys. What's in the water in Luton, eh? But Tate...
testosterone.
But Tate always... I know Andrew Tate. So I know a lot of the things he said were for controversy. I know that he built a character and an image for profit. And I know that he's a nice man. I know that. Yeah? So I know that growing up in Luton, there's no one that spoke badly of him. I know everything about Andrew's upbringing. I used to watch Andrew say things on TV, on camera. I think, well, that's not true. Building an image of himself to create an image and a persona to profit, to get people to pay him.
So there we have it. The business model of Andrew Tate is to say something very offensive, then follow that up and explain the point in a much more moderate way, get people to trust him, and then bring them onto his website, get them converted into paying subscribers, straight out of the mouth of Tommy Robinson, who is also a polemicist of a different kind. We'll get to that soon. And you might think, I don't trust Tommy Robinson saying that Andrew Tate is a nice man, and fair enough. But he did say very openly that this was Andrew Tate's business model, and I see no reason not to believe him on that. So let's go back to Aleister Crowley for a second. Crowley claimed during World War I that the propaganda he was writing in a pro-German magazine called The Fatherland was actually a sabotage tactic secretly designed to aid Britain by making German ideology seem absurd. He turned taboo into a double bluff. Whether you believe the spy story or not, the method is the point. Engineer reactions to shape the frame. The media called Crowley the wickedest man in the world, which to me sounds rather like the most Googled man in the world. But let's move on to the most dangerous man in Britain. In politics, polemical tactics are staged all the time. Nigel Farage has repeatedly stood near harder line voices, let them float maximal positions, watched the media lock the topic, and then distance himself to create the illusion that he is a reasonable moderate. Let's think about Rupert Lowe. Rupert Lowe was advocating for mass deportations of foreign criminals around a year ago. That's October 2024. And Rupert was then kicked out of the party by Nigel Farage, only for Nigel Farage to some months later make the exact same policy suggestion. He is manipulating the Overton window.
They're illegal migrants and they should be treated as such. Spreading them across the country into unsuspecting communities is pure insanity.
We found out one of our MPs was facing these accusations without prejudging anything. Things have got a little bit out of control. Look, there is a behavioural problem here. I've tried to put it all to the back of my mind, but I put it to you, any party who had a senior figure that was facing those accusations would have to act in some way.
Farage also said that Rupert Lowe's ideas were unworkable and something that could never be done. However, a few months later, after the scandal, he went on to say this.
The UK's leader, Nigel Farage, is promising mass deportation of illegal immigrants if he wins.
To detain those, and by the way, all around the world, if you enter a country illegally, you will be detained and deported.
Farage consistently uses people in this snake-like Machiavellian way, and it's for this reason that I think of him as a Machiavellian polemic, cleverly using polemics to move the Overton window to get into a position where he can say the things that he actually wants to say. The choreography of polemics is exactly like this: allegations, suspension, denial, wall-to-wall coverage, and the policy space remains shifted. Proximity, purge, inherit the center. That is Farage's tactics. He is a Machiavellian polemic. Milo is a chaotic polemic. It's like spectacle without destination. Milo shows what happens when spectacle becomes the point. In Berkeley 2017, the protests escalated. The event was cancelled for safety and national headlines followed. Days later, after his CPAC speech, his Simon & Schuster book deal was scrapped after resurfaced remarks. Attention remained high, direction collapsed, and Hillary Clinton even made reference to Milo and his polemical headlines in her speeches. That is polemics without an end state. Noise and norm shift. Now, let's think about Tommy Robinson on Tate. Tate is like a hybrid polemic, part chaotic, part Machiavellian. And Tommy Robinson said that Tate is a nice man who knows how to get attention. Let's treat this as a claim about method. The persona drives reach towards the topic he wants foregrounded: male mental health, responsibility, etc. You can dispute the persona, but the hybrid tactic remains. Performance for reach, message for retention. In 1900, Aleister Crowley clashed with W.B. Yeats and the Golden Dawn at Blythe Road, an infamous battle where admission to the inner temple was contested and later retold, sometimes farcically, as a magical combat. Beyond the theatrics, the lesson is stable. Drama multiplies attention, attention sets the agenda. Crowley made himself the story, so the ideas had to be addressed. W.B. Yeats, it turns out, much like Crowley's accusations, was in fact a member of some dark magical sects. But finally, let's think about clickbait. Clickbait is the same logic at thumbnail scale. Sharpened hook outside, fuller, calmer idea inside. Scan the thumbnails next to this one, including mine, and you will see polemics everywhere. If any of this offended you, that may mean that the video worked its magic as a polemic, not because offense is the goal, but because tension is how attention moves. My agenda is curiosity and clear analysis. Recognize the tactic when it's used on you, and if you use it responsibly. Thank you. Terence McKenna used to say that the internet would be this free, open, intercommunication, a kind of utopia, but we all know it's become a dystopia. Those old school internet ethics died out. Now every site is full of pop-ups, data grabs, and forcing you to make an account. And we don't do any of that. That's the whole point. This was first created amongst a team, and we decided to make it public because it's just so useful. All the code is open source. If you have any use for any of these things, image resizing, audio trimming, and small caps, etc., I think that our site could be quite a useful tool for you, and it's also downloadable as an app. It's tools.apollonian.uk.